Namaste, welcome yogis. My name is Kassandra, and today I'm going to take you through a yin yoga practice to help cope with grief and sadness. So speaking from personal experience, I know that whenever I'm going through a hard time, whether that is grief or sadness, there's a really big temptation to do whatever it takes to feel better. And that might be where you're at right now. But I know now from having gone through, grief and sadness many times, the only way out is through. So this is not going to be a practice to distract yourself. This is not a practice to try to convince yourself that you're feeling better. This is really a practice to give yourself permission to explore how you are really feeling, where this emotion is living in your body. And I'm a big lover of affirmations. So we are going to use affirmations in this practice. So it's one affirmation or statement per pose. And I would highly recommend that you have a journal or a piece of paper somewhere close by just to write down what came up for you. So the affirmations, they might seem really positive, and usually affirmations are written in a positive way. So all you need to do is listen to the affirmation, repeat it over to yourself a few times, and just notice how this affirmation makes you feel. Notice if it's true for you or if it's not. And one is not better than the other. If it's true for you, great. It's almost like a life raft that you can hold onto that gives you hope and that can help you navigate these difficult times. If the affirmation is not true for you, this is a wonderful opportunity for inquiry. So this is where journaling becomes really important, and you can get to the root about why you feel the way that you feel right now, and just accepting and allowing those emotions to have a voice, and also allowing those emotions to express themselves through you. So a great thing about yin yoga is that it's breaking down the physical tension in our bodies. And when we break down that physical tension, I find that it becomes a lot easier to also break open and break down the emotional and energetic tension that we might be carrying around, especially in difficult times of grief and sadness. So in terms of yin yoga, traditional Chinese medicine, we're going to work on the lung meridians. So a lot of poses that open up through the chest, the heart, the upper back, the arms, and it's associated with the element of metal. I have my affirmations and my sequence written up here. Please do have 2 blocks for our class together. And we are going to start in a variation of child's pose that integrates a twist. So big toes together, knees apart, reach your hips towards your heels, and instead of going straight down like we normally would in child's pose, you're gonna thread your right arm underneath you. And if the floor feels far away, this is where putting a block under your head can be really comfortable, and you want to extend your left arm up and over. So right arm underneath you, left arm can reach out, and try to settle your head down to the mat. So similar to thread the needle, but done in a child's pose. If you find it awkward to have your left arm up overhead, sometimes you can also just bring it towards the lower back. So we're just looking for a gentle twist here, and just play around and see what feels best for you. The further you reach your right arm underneath you, the deeper you'll feel the sensation here. Try to relax your neck, your shoulders, and your upper back. For our first affirmation here, we'll internally repeat, "Today I choose to heal. Today I choose to heal." And just notice what your gut reaction is to that statement. And just let yourself inquire. Today I choose to heal. You can slide your left hand back down, push into the palm, just slowly unwind. And we'll ease towards the other side. Just take your time here. The left arm will thread under this time. Right arm extends forward. Lower the ear and the shoulder to the ground. Maybe the left arm reaches out in front of you, or maybe it goes towards the low back. Just whatever feels appropriate. And our affirmation here is, I am willing to let joy into my life. I am willing to let joy into my life. Soften your facial muscles. Just ask, is this true for me? Notice what comes up for you internally when you repeat to yourself, I am willing to let joy into my life. What would that mean for you? Slide the right hand back down, ease your way back up. And we'll make our way onto hands and knees, tabletop pose. Align your knees underneath your hips, hands underneath your shoulders. And we'll set up for melting heart or puppy pose. So you want to keep your hips exactly as they are over the top of your knees. And this is can be a very intense and vulnerable pose. These are heart openers to help us tap into our feelings surrounding grief and sadness. So be really kind and compassionate with yourself. Don't go too far into it. You can walk your palms out in front of you and just melt the heart, melt the forehead, either down onto a block or down towards the mat. And draw your navel in towards the low back a little. And try to soften in this shape. Relax the muscles around the shoulder blades. And our affirmation here is, I let go of my resistance towards this situation. I let go of my resistance towards this situation. And stay with that deep, steady breath, inviting your heart to melt down towards the earth. I let go of my resistance towards this situation. And let's come forward on our bellies. Ease your way into Sphinx pose. So we're not actually going to hang out in Sphinx pose. This is really just to transition into our laying chest opener. So you might need to move your blocks out of the way. Some people call this broken wing as well. So you want to reach your right arm out to the side, either straight, or I like to bend the elbow at a 90-degree angle. And then you can roll onto your right shoulder, right hip, and right ear. And if your head is hovering off the floor here, this is why you want to have a block underneath you, but otherwise the head might be able to rest. So you should feel a pretty big stretch from the pectorals down into the shoulder and maybe all the way down into that bicep as well. So just adjust until you get the sensation that you're looking for here. Left hand can push into the floor, or you can always bring your left hand towards your low back as well, if that feels best for you. And our affirmation here is, I am surrounded by support, seen and unseen. I am surrounded by support, seen and unseen. And you can straighten your legs to roll onto your belly. Ease off of that right shoulder. And just notice how this feels. We'll be setting ourselves up on the other side. Take your time here. Left arm moves over to the side, bending at the elbow. You can roll onto your hip, your ear, and your shoulder. Keep the palm flat down to the mat. You can use your right hand to push into the ground, or you can bring your hand towards your low back if that feels better. And our affirmation here is, my heart opens up a little bit more every day. My heart opens up a little bit more every day. Take deep breaths into your heart space, into your belly. Notice if there's any part of your body that is trying to work, that is tensing up. Relax fully. Straighten your legs, ease off of your left shoulder. Coming back to center. And we'll be making our way into supported fish pose. So grab a hold of your blocks and you can flip over onto your back, putting the first block underneath your shoulder blades and the second block to support the back of your head. Make sure the blocks are fairly comfortable here. You want to be able to relax into it. And you're welcome to keep your legs straight out in front of you if you'd like, with the arms by your sides, or you can come into a hip opener by bringing the soles of your feet together and letting your knees open up wide. Just playing around here and finding the shape that feels like the best fit for you at this time. And this is really wonderful for the front of the body. So as you breathe, see if you can feel your rib cage expand front to back and side to side. And this can be a vulnerable pose to stay in, letting our face and our heart to be exposed, the belly exposed. This is really a pose for surrender, a pose for allowing, and truly a very healing pose, energetically and emotionally. And the affirmation we'll repeat here is, my tears are holy and healing. My tears are holy and healing. My tears are holy and healing. Let's lift the knees back up to center if you had the butterfly shape. And we're gonna come off of our blocks. You can tuck your chin to your chest, move that first block out of the way, and ease your way off of the other one. Come all the way down onto your back. We're gonna come into a laying spinal twist with a nice emphasis on opening through your chest and opening through the arms. So you can move your hips a little bit over to the right, widen the arms into the shape of a T, and maybe wrap your right thigh over your left one if you'd like. So the hips stay, you roll kind of onto your left hip, the knees drop down over to the left, and try to keep your right shoulder blade down on the floor as much as possible. So stretching through the outer right glute and through the lower back, and trying to create space between your right shoulder and your right hip as much as possible. Soften into the pose and internally repeat to yourself, I trust in the goodness of life. I trust in the goodness of life. Squeeze the muscles in your belly a little to float the knees back up, uncrossing the legs. Shift your hips over to center and just check in with yourself. Notice what is coming up for you potentially. And we'll prepare for the other side. So you might want to move your hips to the left, and you can cross your left hip or left thigh over the right one before letting your knees drop over to the right. And see if you can anchor the left shoulder blade to the ground so you're really opening through the chest, stretching a little bit through that left arm. Closing your eyes and finding a point of stillness internally. Staying fully present to your experience. Notice the impulse maybe to distract yourself, or to numb out, or to disassociate. Can you instead stay safely anchored right here, right now, knowing that you are perfectly safe and that you are in full control, and you can come out of the poses at any time that you need to. One of my favorite affirmations here. I relax and allow feelings to move through me. I relax and allow feelings to move through me. Ease on out of this lying spinal twist. And we'll make our way to Shavasana, our final resting pose. If you'd like, you can always keep your feet flat on the floor, knees falling in towards one another, or you can extend your legs out in front of you. And the arms can maybe open up to the sides, or it might feel good, especially for the theme that we've been working with, to have one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart, just anchoring in that connection between the sacral chakra at the low belly, the space of your emotions, space of your creativity, and with the heart chakra, the space of love and compassion for yourself and for others. And our final affirmation is, I show myself great care and compassion at all times. I show myself great care and compassion at all times. Begin to breathe deeply. Feel the space under your palms expand. And it might feel good just to stretch your arms up overhead. And we'll roll to one side. Come on up to take a seat with your eyes closed. Just sit up in a way that supports your hips and your low back. And we'll take that same variation of the hands. So one hand to your low belly, the other palm over the heart. Feel this connection as you lengthen your spine. You might choose to dedicate this practice to someone. Maybe to a person or pet that's moved on. Or you might dedicate it to yourself for your own well-being and healing. And like a prayer that we offer out to the world, let's bring our hands together at the heart. We'll chant Om one time together. Inhale to chant. Big breath in. Om. Namaste. The light within me acknowledges the light within you. Thank you so much, yogis, for doing this practice with me. There is truly no rushing out of grief, no rushing past sadness. The only way out is through, but know that I am with you. I would love to hear from you. Please feel free to leave me a comment down below. And I know that many of you, when you write comments, you write them to me, but let's make the most of our network and of our community that we have here on YouTube and support each other. So if you read through the comments and you see someone who could use a little bit of encouragement or a little bit of support or a little bit of love, just send it to them. I'm only one person, so I think together maybe we might be able to support each other during these difficult times a little bit better. Thank you again. I hope these bad times pass sooner rather than later. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.